What's up, guys? Welcome back to The Educated Barfly. Today we're going to be tackling the subject of Fassionola, an obscure tropical syrup most famous for being used in the original Hurricane cocktail, as well as many of Don The Beachcomber's original Tiki recipes. It's unclear exactly who created this recipe or when it came into being. Some people say that it was developed by the Beachcomber himself. Other people say that it was created well before his time, possibly as early as 1918. Although very popular in the heyday of Tiki, Fassionola fell out of popularity around the time that bars and bartenders swapped quality for convenience and speed. Once it fell out of flavor, the Jonathan English Company, which was the company that was making it, commercially went out of business and the syrup was basically extinct. That is, until, and you guys are familiar with the story, modern bartenders started reviving the syrup to make their own house versions. The challenge in reviving this particular syrup was that nobody knew what the actual ingredients were. They just had a vague idea that it was tropical flavored and red in color. Some say it was supposed to have a passion fruit dominant flavor. Some other people say that it was more generically tropical in flavor, reminiscent of Hawaiian punch or something like that. And since nobody knows, a lot is left up to interpretation. And this, in my humble opinion, isn't such a bad thing. I mean, yes, it's hard to standardize recipes with a syrup that's different bartender to bartender, but because we are free to make our own version unbound by the constraints of recipes, we can put our own personal spin on the drinks we make with it, and we can do something truly unique. And this is very good, not only just for your home bartending, but also commercially for bars to have their own versions of something like a Hurricane or a Cobra's Fang. While researching and preparing this video, I tested a lot of Fassionola syrups, both homemade and commercially prepared. None of them really hit the flavor profile I quite wanted, so I decided that I would throw my hat in the ring and develop my own Fassionola syrup. So before we get into actually making the thing, I just want to let you know that we're using an immersion circulator. This is a piece of equipment that's slightly advanced, but I gotta tell you, if you don't have one, it's definitely worth buying one. And not just because you can make syrups and shrubs and other, kind of cocktail making things, but you can actually cook with this thing as well. You got prosumer models for about 150 to 200 bucks. It is the best money I've ever spent. I constantly use it while I'm either cooking at home or making cocktail ingredients. And this syrup is also possible to be done as a cold processed syrup. So I will give you those directions as we go, and it will also be below in the description. So check that out. If you don't have one of these, you don't need one to make it. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is just start with a large container. I'm gonna use 500 grams of fresh pineapple juice. Now, for those of you that are going to inevitably ask me whether or not you can use canned pineapple juice, the answer is yes, you can use any pineapple juice you want. That said, pineapple juice that has been canned sometimes has extra added sugar. You want to make sure that if you're using something bottled or canned, that it doesn't have extra sugar added to it, or it's going to throw the balance of the syrup off. If you actually use something like that, I don't recommend it, but you can. And if you do, you got to really take into consideration how much sugar is in there. So, read the label and then you can tweak the recipe to your liking. So, fresh pineapple juice, 500 grams. Then we're gonna add 500 grams of castor sugar. I like to use castor sugar specifically because you can make a cold processed syrup with it and it dissolves very quickly. The crystals are very small, and so therefore you don't have to heat it up. And this is how I make like 2-to-1 simple syrup or something if I wanna do a cold processed syrup. And we're just gonna take a spoon and stir it until it basically dissolves. It doesn't need to be 100% dissolved because we are gonna be heating this up for 2 hours, but you wanna make sure that you don't have any residual sugar left behind. Give that a nice stir, making sure we don't have any sugar coat in the bottom or on the sides of the Cambro here. And then to this, we're going to add 200 grams of quartered strawberries. And we're also gonna add 120 grams of blueberries, but before you add it, you wanna make sure to give these guys a little crush. You need to open these up, kind of like when you're making raspberry syrup, to make sure that the sugar can actually get in here and extract the flavor. So just give it a light crush, just make sure each one is just lightly pressed. Just kind of try and break them all up a little bit. And then we're gonna add that into our syrup as well. Stir to combine. Then we're gonna add in 120 grams of mango and 120 grams of papaya. I mean, basically what we're doing is making a fruit salad syrup here. And you wanna make sure that everything is coated with the pineapple syrup that we made. We're gonna take hibiscus flour and we're gonna add in just a 1/4 teaspoon, very small amount. Because we're heating this up for 2 hours, it's going to extract quite a bit of flavor out of that hibiscus. And the hibiscus is there not only to add like a red color and sort of like this little tea vibe to it, but it also adds a little bit of bitterness as well. And it's going to balance out some of the sugars in this syrup, which I really like a lot. You can actually actually omit it. You don't really need it in the syrup if you don't want to. And if you're doing a cold processed syrup, I would actually say that you should do it at the end of the process and not here. But let's actually talk about that a little bit. So here we go. This is our syrup. So if you're doing a cold processed syrup, you'll do exactly what I just did right here, maybe minus the hibiscus flower, and then you'll let this sit for 24 hours. So like an oleosaccharum, you're gonna allow the sugar to extract the juices out of these fruits. And then when you're done with that, you'd press it through a strainer and then kind of fine strain it, and you would have your finished product. Instead of doing that, because we're using the Sous Vide, we're actually gonna add it to a plastic bag here. You wanna make sure that you use BPA-free plastic. So Ziploc bags work well for this. And we're gonna just pour it in like so. Make sure to get everything in there, including that big old hibiscus flower. And then we're just gonna seal up this guy like so, except for we're gonna leave it open a little bit on the side. And the reason for this is that when you use a sous vide, you actually need to use a vacuum sealed bag. And since I don't have a chamber vacuum, which can do bags with lots of liquid in it, and like a regular, kind of vacuum sealer at home is not gonna do the job, what I do is I just close up the bag like that. You see that there's a bunch of air in here. Then I open it up, and then when I put it into the water will just push the air right out. So you push that all the way down, then you close it up, and then you have it nice and sealed there with no air inside of it. And then you just put that there like that. I like to put a clip here. You don't necessarily need to, but I like to put a clip here if I can find my clip. We'll put it there, and then we'll clip it to the side here. So we're gonna fire up our sous vide. Mine is a Juul, which is like a prosumer sous vide. It works over the internet. I'm just gonna press start. We're gonna put it at 135 degrees, and we're gonna do that for 2 hours. So when it starts up, it's gonna take the temperature of the water. It's gonna show you right here, and it's going to heat it up to the proper temperature, and then you can start your clock. I went out and ran some errands, and the nice thing about the Juul is, and this is not a commercial for the Juul, like they're not sponsoring us. I've had this thing for 2 years, but what's nice about it is that I get a notification on my phone when my sous vide is done, and so I can just cut it off and then go back to doing what I was doing, and I don't have to like over extract anything, which is really nice. So let me just cut this thing off really quickly, stop it, and then we can take this out. As you can see here, we have this nice red colored syrup. I really like having one of these, a nut milk bag. It's just easy to get all the little particles out. We're just gonna put this in our old container here, and we are going to pour our syrup. Make sure it doesn't shift too much. So we're just gonna press this like so. Want to make sure to press out all of the syrup that you can get out of there. It's also, of course, gonna press out more juices. Okay, now, if you're wondering what you can do with the pulp, put it into a blender, add a little simple syrup to it, blend it up, taste it to make sure it's as sweet as you want it. Take a sheet pan, parchment paper, spread the puree out really thin, and then dehydrate it at like 160 degrees for like 4 to 6 hours, and you will have fruit leather, and then you can use your waste and not throw it out. But we're not done yet, because passion fruit is actually a flavor profile in Fassionola if you're doing it correctly. That much of the history we know, and so we're gonna have to add in our passion fruit. So this stuff is pretty good. You can get it on Amazon. It's called Funkin' Passion Fruit Puree. Now this is puree, not syrup. You don't wanna add more sugar into this. You want it to be tart, not sweet, okay? So remember, add passion fruit puree. We're gonna do 1/4 cup of this passion fruit puree. Even though passion fruit is pretty tart on its own, it's really not tart enough, and it doesn't have that sharpness. You could actually sous vide lemon peel in there to kind of get that acid, but I actually just like to put a little citric acid in there. So we're gonna do 1/2 teaspoon of citric acid into our syrup. Since I have 1/4 teaspoon, I go 1, 2, then we'll give it a little mix. Give it a taste. Oh, that's so good. Now, last thing we're gonna do here is fortify this syrup with a little bit of rum fire, some overproof Jamaican rum. The thing about pineapple is that it likes to ferment even when it's in the fridge. So to get a little bit more life out of it, we're just gonna add 1 ounce of overproof Jamaican rum. You can do vodka or any other really high proof spirit, but this is a tropical flavored syrup, and I really like the addition of Jamaican rum. 1 ounce of overproof Jamaican rum. Give it a stir. Give it a little taste. And now we're just gonna add our syrup to a bottle. So just as a disclaimer for the choice of spirit that I use to fortify this, if you use Jamaican rum, you are going to get a flavor profile, and it's going to add flavor into the syrup. So if you do not want that, definitely use vodka, but you will be able to taste those Jamaican rum notes. I just really like the way that the syrup tastes with that, and I think it's really nicely balanced. Yeah, let's taste it one more time. I mean, it's so good. There you have Barfly's Fassionola syrup. The main question is, okay, I've got the syrup, what cocktails can we make with it? So today I thought I would add a few cocktails into this video and you guys will know exactly how to use it. The good news about Fassionola is that it's a very forgiving recipe and it goes basically into any sour, so you can really just let your inspiration fly. But for the sake of this video, I'm gonna do 2 cocktails that originally supposedly had Fassionola in it, and then I'm just gonna wing it on the last one. So the first one we're doing is the Hurricane cocktail. We're gonna be doing the specs a little bit different than the original. The cocktail came about around World War II at a bar called Pat O'Brien's in New Orleans. And what's an interesting fact about it is actually the cocktail was named after the glass, and the glass was named after a hurricane lamp, which I thought was interesting because, I mean, it's just not a very far cry to call something that was developed in New Orleans a hurricane because they, well, have hurricanes. But it was named after a lamp, which I thought was interesting. All right, so first things first, prep our stuff, cut a lime. Once again, the limes at the store leave much to be desired and they're small and mealy. So we're probably actually gonna have to juice like a lime and a half to get the amount we need. We're gonna do 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice, 3/4 of an ounce of Fassionola, 1/2 ounce of Jamaican rum. But Dr. Berger's a really funky Jamaican rum. I love it. 1.5 ounces of light rum. We're gonna be using this Saison rum, which is also pretty phenomenal. Add a Scotia Pebble. Give this a nice whip shake. Pour it in like so. It's very pink. And let's give it a very rum forward. Balanced. Yeah, and you got the lime and balanced out by the Fassionola syrup. I mean, you get all those tropical fruit flavors. It's also very passion fruit forward as well. It's nice. It's not as intensely red as you would see some of the older hurricanes go, which I find kind of, I was like hoping this would be like a redder color, but I guess like lime juice, pale rum, and just 3/4 an ounce of Fassionola syrup is going to make it kind of pink. And there you have the Hurricane cocktail. The next cocktail that we're doing is called a Cobra's Fang, which is another cocktail that originally had Fassionola in it. So we're just gonna do 2 very teensy dashes of absinthe, 1/2 ounce of Fassionola, 1/2 ounce of lime juice, 1/2 ounce of orange juice, 1.5 ounces of dark Jamaican rum, 1/2 ounce of 151 Demerara rum, 1/2 ounce of Velvet Falernum. Add in roughly 6 ounces pebble ice. Blend it. And we're going to settle it. Dump the contents in. We're just gonna garnish here with a mint sprig and a little dehydrated lime here. I like big bushy mint sprigs, so you get a really nice big mint hit in your cocktail. Give it a crushy pants, slappy poo. Stick it in there. I think we're just gonna grab one of these guys. Boop, and boop it in like that to give it a taste. Yeah, pretty tasty. Very rum forward. I'm not sure that I really get all the Fassionola in there, but you know, it's got some tropical vibes. It's kind of more dominated by the orange and lime. It has somewhat of a balance, although it's going to tend toward the tart a little bit because that Fassionola is coupled up with that Velvet Falernum, which has a little bit less sugar in it. So I would say that there's probably about maybe 3/4 of an ounce or less of sugar in here. So it's not super, super balanced, but it's nice. Yep, you get that rum hit. Of course, you're going to be tasting that 151 in there. A pretty good cocktail, although this one could use a respec to be a little bit more balanced. But there it is, the Cobra's Fang. Last cocktail that we got going on today is just a daiquiri. One that I'm kind of winging it right now in real time. Just popped into my head. Haven't made it, haven't tried it. Gonna do it for the first time right now. I'm pretty excited about it. All right, so let's do it. First thing we're gonna do is 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice into our tin. And I just thought this might be kind of fun to play up a little bit of the bitterness by doing a quarter, kind of a small quarter of Select Aperitivo. 3/4 of an ounce of our Fassionola. A fat 3/4. We're just gonna add in a little rum here. We're doing the Florida Caña 4-year, and I'm doing 2 ounces. So this might be complete crap. I don't know. Usually I work on my cocktails for a long time. Add some ice to our tin. It's kind of big ice to shake with. That's all right. Give it a nice heart shake. All right, let's give it a sip. I mean, I do love me some Flor de Caña. You know, obviously you get that right on the front end is the Flor de Caña. Kind of devolves to the tartness of the lime. You get the berry flavors of the Fassionola. And what's really nice though is that little bit of botanical bitterness that we added in with the Select. It's nice and not red, but pink. That is a very good daiquiri. So there it is, the bitter Fassionola daiquiri. All right, there it is, guys, my original Fassionola recipe and 3 cocktails so that you can start using it right away and it's not just taking up space in your fridge. And I will see you guys on another time.